Good evening and welcome to this extraordinary full council meeting, Macclesfield Town Council, Monday the 2nd of February 2026. I've called this meeting so that the Town Council can acknowledge the concerns of Macclesfield residents regarding the proposed Adlington New Town. I have worked closely with my fellow councillors, particularly Fiona Wilson, to produce the agenda so that everyone can speak and discuss this matter. As a town council, we are not the planning authority for this proposal and have no decision-making powers over it. Our role this evening is to listen and ensure residents' views are heard. I am aware that there is a lot of noise on social media about Adlington New Town and Cheshire East councillors. As has been widely reported, it is true that 5 councillors here this evening are both Macclesfield Town and Cheshire East councillors. I need to make it very clear that we are here as Macclesfield Town councillors and will not be discussing Cheshire East Council at all. I am also aware of significant levels of abuse that fellow councillors have been subjected to. I have colleagues that face frequent aggression and intimidation. Abuse, threats and aggression have no place here. They have no place anywhere. Macclesfield Town Council is made up of 12 people, unpaid, who come together because we love where we live and want to do our best for our town and our residents. Town Council is a safe place and I will not tolerate anything that jeopardises that. We have had to arrange security for this evening as some councillors were so concerned. I must make it crystal clear that if anyone present falls short of expected standards of behaviour and/or conduct, they will be removed. Thank you, and I will now move on to the agenda. Item number 1, apologies for absence.
So we have one councillor, Councillor Sandy Livingston, who, due to a conflict of interest, will not be attending the first part of the meeting, but will be attending the second part.
Lovely, thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Do I have any? Fiona.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I acknowledge the point you've made about this not being Cheshire East Council and not being a matter for Cheshire East Council, but I do feel, in the interest of transparency and openness, I need to declare I'm the Vice Chair of Northern Planning Committee at Cheshire East Council and may be possible sometime in the future be called upon to judge on other applications. I have worded my motion very carefully, but it relates specifically to Adlington New Town. Thank you.
Thank you. Mick.
In light of Fiona's declaration, I'll declare I'm the Chair of Northern Planning. I'm also Chair of Economy and Growth Committee.
Okay, thank you. So,
I'm also a member of the Northern Planning Committee on Cheshire East Council.
thank you. That's everybody. Smashing. Right. We've now on to the public speaking. Normally we would take all public speakers together, but because we've only got 2 agenda items, I'm going to take the 2 speakers registered for agenda item 3, which is Adlington New Town, first. So, Chris Walker. Hello. Would you like a microphone?
No, I don't.
Okay. Where do you?
Am I all right to stay here, or do you want me to?
No, you can stay there.
I can stay here.
Yeah, you can stand or sit. It's entirely up to you.
Okay.
And you have 5 minutes.
All right, everybody else, I shall stay here.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Chris Walker. I'm a Titherington resident and have been for about 40 years. In all that time we've lived here, I've never felt so strongly about any particular topic. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the developer-led proposal at Adlington, so I don't intend to use my allotted time to go over old ground. The Town Clerk's already circulated an interim report compiled by the Stop Adlington New Town group, and this should serve as a decent reference after the meeting. However, I still feel it's worth covering a few points. Even if central government provides some funding, which is highly doubtful, every financial shortfall created by this development will directly affect Macclesfield. This means us as residents, not the developer and not central government. The scale of the new town needs to be fully understood. It will stretch from Poynton to the south side of Bonnysaw Lane and right up to Buckley Town. Make no mistake, this is not a few houses some miles away off our patch. It's right up to the boundary, about 2/3 the size of Macclesfield, swallowing up and wiping out 15 active and valuable farms that provide food security at a time when the supply chain has never been so insecure. The water and sewage infrastructure is shared across Macclesfield and Adlington, and today has no capacity for the increase without massive upgrade. Already last week we've seen water shortages in parts of the town, and an additional 14 to 20,000 houses isn't going to improve that situation. There are no spare secondary school places at Titherington, Poynton or Wilmslow. In fact, Wilmslow has some 60 students over its stated places available. The pressure will fall directly on Macclesfield, as the nearest school with availability is at Macclesfield Academy. The hospitals at Stepping Hill and Macclesfield are continuously overloaded and underperforming, with a possible plan to shut the Buxton Cavendish, which was seen to be confirmed today. That situation will considerably worse. So yes, Macclesfield is affected. It's been claimed by Bellport that Adlington Station could be expanded to take advantage of its position on the West Coast Main Line. This ignores the fact that the restrictions to increase capacity are not the station itself, but track width, tunnels, viaducts, junctions from Stoke to Stockport, which all constrain timetabling. We've already seen reduced evening rush hour service locally to provide more for Congleton. Things are so tight. Increased service to Adlington will mean reduced service for Macclesfield. Upgrades will cost billions, take years to plan and complete, even if technically possible. The effects of increased car traffic will be even worse, both through Macclesfield and further afield. A projected 70% increase means gridlock. We've already seen funding for regeneration being diverted away from Macclesfield, with Crewe and HS2 being recent examples. A new town at Adlington will inevitably draw even more away from Macclesfield. There's a need for affordable housing, however it needs to be truly affordable, not £400,000 plus, for which a combined household income in excess of £75,000 would be required for a mortgage. Affordable housing is required in 1 or 2 bed properties, as over 75% on the waiting list currently for this type of accommodation, which should be close to existing town centres where there are jobs and facilities. So this is the wrong development. It's not plan-led, it's purely developer-led, concentrating so much population in such a small area, bereft of infrastructure. There are brownfield sites in our town. Several have been eyesores for years. They're crying out for redevelopment to benefit everybody. Adlington have just created vast profits for developers and international investors. Bellport have owned the land for just on 2 years. They stand to win the lottery. They state in their published information prospectus, Adlington has excellent rail and road connections which we can upgrade. When I spoke to their chief officer, Freddie James, it turns out the we is actually you and me, and it's not Bellport. They don't see infrastructure as their baby. At the recent committee meeting in Parliament, 13th of January, Michael Lyons, the chair of the Newtowns Task Force, was very clear about needing local authority backing for Newtown applications, and said sites would not have been put forward if any local authority had rejected the idea. He went on to say, as a result of the council leader, Cheshire East Council leader and deputy's letter stating they were in favour, he felt it was safe enough to continue to recommend to the government for consideration. I'm sure you all know about the letter I've just referenced, sent by Cheshire East leaders, without authority, which appears to have totally misled the Newtown Task Force. They were instructed at the last Cheshire East Council meeting to write to the Secretary of State to withdraw their support. Despite doing so, Adlington remains on the list. I therefore ask that this Council do the maximum possible to address this travesty of democracy, whether this is to raise a vote of no confidence or object directly to the appropriate ministers. Doing nothing or passing motions without consequence leaves my hometown very exposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Brian, would you like a microphone?
I think I can speak loud enough,
Okay.
if that's okay. I'm Brian Puddicombe, and just for the sake of transparency, I'm the Cheshire East Councillor for Macclesfield South Ward. And thank you for allowing me to speak. My comments will be of a general nature, because I think it's possible that following the government confirming they do not intend to take Adlington forward under the Newtown proposals, by the middle of the year, Cheshire East Strategic Planning Board, which I chair, could be considering planning applications for this site from the developer. I do understand the concerns raised by Adlington residents and residents in the parishes around Adlington. I also understand the need to voice that concern and anger, although, as you said, Chair, we hope that that can always be done in a reasonable and courteous manner. I also think it unfortunate that the opposition has been somewhat fractured, with different opposition groups having different social media pages, one which seems purely interested in petty political point scoring and seriously trying to stop this unviable proposal. I am sure councillors will agree with me that we urgently need housing in Macclesfield. Goodness, do we need housing? But as the previous speaker said, we need genuinely affordable and social housing. And whilst I am sure Bellport would pay lip service to this, they will be more interested in building more profitable executive homes. When you talk about a new town, as well as the housing, there is also the infrastructure needed, as outlined in paragraph 3.1 of your motion. Medical needs and transport are for me major reasons why proposals for a new town at Adlington are a non-starter. As Mr Walker said, anyone who has visited Macclesfield General or Stepping Hill hospitals will know they are already creaking at the seams. The fantastic NHS staff give great care under the circumstances, but a new town with a population growth would break their back. So turning to transport, anyone who has travelled by train between Macclesfield and Manchester will be aware of how overcapacity it is. Adlington has a cute little station, great for the stopping train to Stoke, but I do not see how it could be increased in size to accommodate intercity trains. Macclesfield is a mainline station currently being invested in by Network Rail. Adlington can never be. Councillors will be aware that Cheshire East Council unanimously supported a motion in December to formally object to proposals for a new town at Adlington. Yes, there was a poorly worded letter sent to the Secretary of State last year in the name of the Cheshire East leader and deputy leader. They didn't write it, but it was in their names, and they have owned up to they've owned it and apologised for it. That letter was never intended as support for a new town at Adlington, but for the principle of new towns, appropriately planned and delivered. And the Secretary of State has now been made fully aware of Cheshire East Council's opposition. So, in conclusion, we do need housing locally and nationally. I'm sure this council would welcome appropriate investment in this area for housing for our young people and those on lower incomes, with investment in our transport services, hospitals, schools and town centre. But the current Adlington proposals are not where we start with this, but I would urge all councillors to support the motion in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody like to say anything? Make any comment?
Motion.
Do you want to just move to motion? Would you propose?
Thank you very much. I would like to move the motion standing on the agenda at item 3 regarding Adlington New Town, the text of which is detailed on the agenda. I'd like to speak to that, please.
Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Mick. You want to speak?
I do, yes,
Yep.
thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
There's no doubt that we have a housing crisis. Children and families living in temporary accommodation, nearly 12,000 households in Cheshire East on the housing waiting list. We need additional housing, affordable homes, starter homes, homes for older and vulnerable adults, properties to buy and to rent. My ward of Macclesfield South is in the top 30% of deprived areas in the country. My biggest caseload as a Cheshire East councillor is supporting people who are housed in inappropriate or unsuitable accommodation. I have been a member of planning committees for a number of years. I'm currently, as stated in my declaration of interest, Vice Chair of the Cheshire East Northern Planning Committee and a regular sub at Strategic Planning Committee. And we've already have a real challenge to get the infrastructure necessary to support new housing developments. Macclesfield needs affordable and social housing, along with the medical, educational, transport and community services to enable sustainable living. A development of this magnitude at Adlington New Town, the creation of a new town at Adlington, would require a very significant investment in infrastructure, otherwise it would overwhelm our vital services. We need the right homes in the right place, and Adlington New Town just doesn't fit the bill. It is a flawed proposal. It doesn't meet government planning policies or the Cheshire East local plan process, a key part of which is the involvement of communities. At Adlington, we have high quality grazing land, long established farms and significant woodland and areas of recognised ecological value. In building the much needed homes, we must focus on prioritising development on brownfield and regeneration sites such as in town centres, rather than on valuable greenbelt and farming land. Our policy here at Macclesfield Town Council has long been to support the regeneration of the town centre and the benefits this brings. We have the excellent developments of the crossings in Park Green and the proposals for the regeneration of the old St Barnabas School for social housing in Macclesfield. Brownfield and regeneration sites are available, but often difficult and costly to bring to fruition. And so this motion calls on the government to allocate funds to make it easier for brownfield sites to be brought back into use. There has been no formal engagement with Macclesfield Town Council elected representatives by the New Towns Task Force nor the developer Bellport. Whilst this might be in planning terms, because Macclesfield is not contiguous to the parishes affected, there has been no consultation with local parish councils or key stakeholders in the area. The New Towns Task Force stated principle that the specified sites have the support of local communities has clearly not been met. This motion makes clear our objection to this proposal. We also have to be clear that the decision maker is the Secretary of State and not Macclesfield Town Council or Cheshire East Council, and that this is a developer-led proposal made possible by local landowners selling their land along with the farms and the communities that settled on that land. Now, I moved a similar motion at Cheshire East Council to oppose the new town at Adlington, and this received the support of all councillors, whether politically affiliated or not. That's all councillors, whatever their political affiliation. At that time, back in December, I called on all councillors, communities and campaigners to move forward as one. In some respects, this has happened, and I repeat my call for this to be in a courteous and comradely manner. We will achieve far more if we stand together. Thank you.
Thank you. I really like that. Would anybody else like to speak? Sarah?
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to echo what Councillor Fiona Wilson has just said. My ward is Hairsfield, and there's also a lot of red on Tottenham Rug there. And a lot of my casework is from families who have got 3 generations living in 2-bedroom properties, such as a bungalow or a high-rise flat. So you've got a parent, usually a mother, a son or a daughter, and then 3 kids or more, all squashed into a 2-bedroom property. There is an urgent need for social and truly affordable housing in Macclesfield and throughout the country. And I completely agree with what you're saying about infrastructure, and also about landowners selling off the land and people are already living and farming there. This didn't happen overnight. This has happened for, well, we could say, I'm not going to go into political history and whatever, the feudal system, but what I will say are all our services, all our infrastructure and utilities have been sold off over the last 50 years. They've not been maintained. They're absolutely crumbling. I mean, where we live in Hairsfield, the water's there, it's on and off. You never know when you can put your washing machine on or whatever. But people are absolutely crying out for decent housing, and not just for it to be adapted when you've been in hospital, for it to be purpose-built for everybody's needs, and that's what we need. And I'd really like to see the same people who are, I'm glad that you feel ignited and you're protesting and everything. It's something I've done to since I was a teenager, but I'd like to see people doing the same for those people in my community who've got nowhere to live. I've got homeless ex-servicemen, I've got people sleeping in the corridors of flats, there's people in the town centre in doorways. We need to provide for those people as well.
Thank you. A-Lift?
Thank you, Chair. I'm probably coming from mine. One of the things I heard is that wealthy people are selling off their land, which probably makes the land not what it used to be, but I wouldn't go there. The government has clearly stated there is a need for housing, many housing, and the government, the planning services, in my opinion, should always ask what services will service the houses when they are going to be built, not after they're built. That should be a part of the planning. Say how will happen and what will happen. Because change is not always bad. Change will bring new life, new people, new services, new nurses, new doctors, new teachers. Why do those things not come together to say when something is planned for change, the services must also be included within that? And to me, that is where the anxiety comes in. You cannot make houses and then don't tell people how it will be served. So when it comes to value, I'm not sure that they're talking about the monetary value of the land or the moral value of getting houses for people. Because new things will bring new ideas, new initiatives, new strengths, new people, new breeding people, and that is never at the start. And I feel that's where the anxiety comes in here. But change, if I see land value in a lot of these things, because twice it is mentioned, if the town, Macclesfield town, can be developed, why is Macclesfield town less valuable than another place? And how is value defined? Whose value is it? And the idea that all houses have a social value, whether it's poor or less or a single parent, this value of society, I don't know how one set of people feel another set of people is less valuable. I have a problem with that social value that is not seen in everyone. And the maintenance of biodiversity is a grand one. I would like to see the maintenance of human diversity. I'm not hearing that. So I have been in this town 55 years or more, and I have seen some changes with ease and some changes with difficulty. And I think at the end, when planning can embrace service, we will go a step further because change must come. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other speakers? No? Shall we move to the vote? Okay. All those in favour, please raise your hand. A-Lift, are you?
Thank you. No, thank you, Chair.
Okay.
What are we voting?
We're voting now
What are we voting for?
on the motion. All those in favour?
I'm not.
Okay, thank you.
I understand.
All those abstentions? Yeah, thank you. That's it. Yeah, motion carried. Thank you. How many was there? 10.
10
Yeah. 10-1. Motion carried. Lovely. Right. Thank you very much. That's great. I don't know if those of you that are here for the Adlington Newtown want to stay. You're welcome to stay for the Town of Culture. But now would be the time to depart if you're not planning on staying for that. Yes, he's here. He's walked past. So if somebody... Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll wait for Fiona. Super timing. Fabulous. Okay, we're all here. So, agenda item number 4, Town of Culture. Tom Broadhead, would you like a microphone? Okay.
Thank you very much for welcoming me this evening. My name is Tom Broadhead. I'm a film producer and local entrepreneur, and I'm leading Macclesfield's bid to be UK Town of Culture in 2028. We first heard about this back in November, whereupon I looked at it and thought it would be really mad for us not to go for it. Macclesfield has so many reasons why we have a lot to offer to the Town of Culture, but also a lot of things that can be improved upon within our cultural offering. Many things that have been highlighted in this room, things that have been highlighted at town consultations and that various councillors are aware of. So we took the step, myself and a friend, of going to Bradford to find out more about this Town of Culture competition. The eventual goal is to win £3 million in funding for arts and culture in 2028, to be delivered over the course of the year, but more likely over the course of about 6 months. The process is quite rigorous, as you'd imagine, for such an amount of money, and requires various stages of applications to be made. We're currently at the stage where the expression of interest has just opened, so we'll be putting together answers to a series of, I believe, 11 questions of 400 words, all about what is the story of the town, what is our ability to deliver, what is a loose view of the cultural future of the town, and we have to get that in by the end of March. Now, we announced this to the people of Macclesfield and councillors and many people in this room actually came, coming up to 2 weeks ago on Wednesday. And we started with an in-person event at Bollington Brewery Tap Room, and then the following day announced this on social media, where it went frankly bananas. We've had an incredible outpouring of love and support for this from the general population of Macclesfield, especially given the fact that this is really about culture for all people. It's not about culture for one section or subsection that owns culture. It's not about culture as defined by narrow parameters or principles. It is about the broadest definition of culture for the broadest cohort of people in the town. And it's about culture as an ability for people to gain a sense of pride and social mobility in the town, and to improve overall health and well-being. So as you can imagine, that encompasses a very, very broad definition. In addition to the support from the general population of Macclesfield, we've also had some amazing people emerge from the corners of Macclesfield who have incredibly relevant skill sets, and we are in the process of putting together a SWAT team of really sort of capable people to do this. So yes, this is an incredibly competitive competition, which will, I'm sure, draw applications from the four corners of Britain, and rightly so, but I think that we have as good a chance of any, and I really appreciate the support that we've already had from various people in this room, and I ask that we continue to have your support and backing for this. Thanks.
Thank you. So, we are asked to approve Maxfield Town Council to act as the accountable body for the town of Culture Bed. Fiona, I believe you are wanting to propose.
Yes, I can do, yes.
Yes.
Tom, thanks once again for coming along to speak to us about the town of Culture Bed and being the person who has picked up and run with this, because it's a really, really exciting project for us to secure, in the first step, some significant funds to actually set out what our town of Culture Bid is, and then if we actually win, you know, much more funding to do really exciting things. But we have to deal this evening with the governance issues in terms of how the bid is going to be supported by the Town Council. And I'm very excited that Macclesfield Town Council is going to act as the accountable body for the Town of Culture. This on the second page of the document, if people are going to be watching this on YouTube afterwards, I'm just going to quickly go through that we have to demonstrate a full understanding of the evidence requirements. We have to have a robust partnership agreement with Macclesfield Culture Collective, full funding of all the project costs and the council involvement in decision making. I personally think that I know that we are very well placed as a town council to deal with the governance issues. We have all the experience, we have the financial acumen, we deal with the sort of funding size we're talking about here on a regular basis in terms of the work and activities we do. So I am very proud to propose that Macclesfield Town Council will act as the accountable body for the Town of Culture Bid in partnership with the Macclesfield Culture Collective with the conditions I outlined earlier. Thank you.
Fab, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Sarah. Would anybody like to say anything? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's a fantastic proposal for somebody who's championed culture as the route for the town's future, to be a town of culture, given the reputation the town might have had previously. It's something exceptional. I think that's something, one of our strengths. If you look at the creativity of the events the town council runs, I'm fairly confident that we can pull this off and do it well. So I'm absolutely supportive.
Thank you. That's everybody. We shall go to the vote then. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Go on.
I'd just like to say I absolutely echo what my fellow councillors has just said, and I went to the meeting 2 weeks ago in the Bollington Brewery, and all the kind of movers and shakers, if you like, of Macclesfield were there. And when I say movers and shakers, I'm thinking a bit more funky than sort of boring commerce and stuff. And there's just a certain, I've got to do this because Fiona's here. And a certain man that has put Macclesfield on the map. But that's not the only reason why we will be the town of culture. We've got music, we've got bands, we've got independent shops, we've got walks in the countryside, we've got the canal, we've got boaters, music. It's a great place to live, work and play, and I think we stand a good chance of winning. We might even win the FA as well.
Oh, we will.
Fingers crossed. Lovely, thank you. I've not missed anybody else, have I? No, good. Right, we shall go to the vote. All those in favour of Macclesfield Town Council to act as the accountable body for the town of Culture Bid? Is everybody? Absolutely everybody. The motion's passed. Thank you very much. So the final thing on the agenda, the final item, is the date and time and place of the next meeting. And the next meeting of the full council will be on the 9th of March 2026 here at the Town Hall. Thank you very much, everybody.